Welcome back. The news in details. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on Monday announced his candidacy for a new presidential term. The president made the announcement as he addressed the concluding session of the Story of a Nation conference. President el-Sisi said on his social media page that he assigned Councillor Mahmoud Fawzi to lead the state's election campaign.
In remarks at the concluding session of a Story of a Nation conference, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on Monday described the conference's 3 days as being fruitful, having told the story of a homeland for which all parties worked, faced challenges, and made achievements. He said that Egyptians are a historic epic, having surpassed despair and frustration, regained their homeland from forces of evil and traitors, overcame challenges, and rebuilt their great state. The president hailed the sons of Egypt who battled terrorism and paid tribute to the nation's martyrs who sacrificed dearly to restore dignity, justice, and development to their country and its people. He reiterated the vow to complete the path of building a new republic based on social justice, human dignity, and state institutions, and to achieve to the citizens a decent life. President Sisi noted that he followed up with great concern the national dialogue activities and urged concerned bodies to, through study, its recommendations. He reaffirmed his willingness to develop the political and partisan status in Egypt towards various visions and opinions. The head of state called on Egyptians to participate in the upcoming presidential elections and announced his intention to run for a new presidential term. He said the move comes in the framework of his keenness to continue the path of achievements the state witnessed over the past 10 years.
And now here is a rerun of President el-Sisi's full speech, during which he announced his candidacy for the forthcoming presidential elections.
Thank you very much. Long live Egypt. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Thanks be to Allah. The great people of Egypt, the great honorable people. It was a very nice, fruitful time that we spent together over the previous days, telling the story of the nation and this country for which we all work, and for which and for its development we faced challenges and achieved for it. Thanks be to God all these achievements. I would like to tell you, we together, the Egyptians, have done a historical legend when we overcame frustration and depression and restored our valuable Egypt from the hands of the group of darkness and deceit. And then we overcame the challenge to rebuild our great country so that its people would enjoy dignity, equality, justice, and development. Together, we faced terrorism that wanted to destroy our will, and our kind land had the blood of our martyrs, the sons of Egypt. Let me, at this moment, because at this moment we are here thanks to the sacrifices of these sons. So let us stand a moment in silence in respect to them, and to tell their families that we would never forget your sacrifices for the stability of this country. Take your seats, please. Thank you. Our will was relentless in front of all these challenges. And the sons of Egypt and its girls announced that they are ready to go through this battle to build Egypt, so achieved a lot of accomplishments. They achieved glory and national pride. And the will of the Egyptians was and is always the main engine to continue this dream to build our modern state that is well deserved by the sacrifices of Egyptians, the great people of Egypt. While we are starting our new republic that seeks to continue the path of the state and rebuilding it on the basis of modernity, democracy, we are renewing our pledge together to work to continue our dreams for our dear Egypt, our valuable homeland that has met the sacrifices and the blood of all Egyptians and martyrs. As a strong country based on social justice, human dignity, the state of institutions that achieve for its citizens a decent life, and for our dreams to come true, we will work together. I very much followed the national dialogue that was in its primary form promising to continue it, and I directed the government and all state institutions to work on studying the package of outcomes from this national dialogue. I would like to tell you that I intend to go on with this national dialogue as well as continue developing the political and partisan life in Egypt. So that the state would have alternatives, multiple visions in a permanent manner. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, after we followed during the proceedings of this conference the facts and the figures about the reality of the state, how was it and how it became? We renew our pledge that it would be a reality full of peace and good love for all Egyptians, God willing. There is no fear for a nation in which the crescent of its mosque meets the cross of its church, and a nation whose sons love it won't be divided, and no country whose women protected the voice of national conscience would collapse. I have full confidence in our nation that it is fearless, unbreakable, and it would only arise above its challenges to make pyramids of glory and history. And I would like to tell you that, as always, when I met the call of Egyptians and assumed this responsibility, I did not own the wealth of the land or the rosy dreams and promises. I have nothing but my belief in Allah and in Egypt, and being biased to your will and working impartially and dedicated, carrying the honor of the Egyptian military, and this is the medal that I carry on my heart. I faced with you all the challenges and crises, and with you we overcame all the crises and challenges, and together we reached hope. And today, while we are about holding the presidential elections to shoulder the responsibility of managing the state, as I have always done over the previous 10 years, I do not take a step except when the Egyptians call upon me to take this step. I call on all the Egyptians to make these elections the real beginning for a political life full of vitality that witnesses multiplicity, diversity, difference without any discrimination. And as an Egyptian citizen, before being a president, I was glad that we have this diverse group of candidates, and I express to them all respect and appreciation. Difference is God's rule in His creation and an undeniable truth, and diversity is a real richness that shows the ability of our nation to survive. And I exerted efforts and I met my promises as much as I can, and I worked in devotion for this country with good wills. And as I met the call of the Egyptians before saying this paragraph, I will ask you to pray to Allah. We would like to pray to Allah. If others deserve this position more than myself, then be by his side. And let's pray to God. If I deserve it, then please lead me to it. It seems that you want to be tired and exhausted the whole time. Thank you very much. God willing, I now would respond to your call again. I will repeat again. I pray to Allah that I deserve this position. And I intend to run for the presidential elections to continue the dream in a new presidential term. And I promise you to make this presidential term an extension of our work together for the future of Egypt and its people. And I invite all Egyptians to vote in this democratic scene, to select with their national conscience who deserves to be the president, and may God give the rule to he who deserves it. And this is the will of the Egyptians that I respect and I work for and with. I would like to tell you that I never made promises or said words that I cannot meet. All what I can say right now is that I will keep on working and working, and may God help us. And I'm talking to you and to each and every Egyptian. Please, I would be glad and honored if the participation of the Egyptians who have the right to vote is high. I want them all to go to the polling station even if they are not going to elect me. I want you to show the world that this is a state and there is people in the state who have a will. And this is the will of the people and not the will of the ruler. It's the will of the people who bring the ruler. And when people in the whole world would see that the Egyptians took to the polling stations, we all would be glad and honored to have this result. We spend a lot of hours doing a lot of things, so we should not feel that this is much for Egypt. We should all encourage ourselves and go to the polling stations and all elect whoever you want. It's Allah by the end of the day who selects the ruler. And I swear by Allah that I would be satisfied by the result. The great people of Egypt, the seedling of hope flourishes with work and honest words and action. These are the only means that would enable us to attain our dreams together, God willing, together and with you and by Allah before Egypt would live. Long live Egypt and peace be upon you all.
السلام الوطني لجمهورية مصر العربية.
President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on Monday said that the state endeavored to carry out plasma derivatives projects since 2012, but it faced a lot of challenges until it launched the project in cooperation with global companies to finalize a plasma production factory by 2026. He said that 8 plasma centers were inaugurated and they are poised to reach up to 20 centers nationwide. In remarks at the Social Equity and Health session held as part of the Story of a Nation conference's third-day activities, President el-Sisi stressed that more work is needed to reduce breast cancer percentage in Egypt. The president stressed that the media should enlighten the citizens over healthy habits as part of overall efforts to achieve improvements in the health sector. During the same session, the head of state affirmed the state's keenness on establishing investment funds like Long Live Egypt and the Suez Canal Authority funds that helped achieve a lot of projects, especially in the health sector. He also pointed that Long Live Egypt Fund had a great role in contributing to carrying out health initiatives. Also, as part of the Story of a Nation conference's activities, President Sisi attended a session dubbed Foreign Policy and National Security. During his speech before the session, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said that Egypt's foreign policy aims at supporting its citizens in the first place. Shoukry also said that Egypt succeeded in enhancing strategic ties with China, Russia, India and Japan, adding that the state played an effective role in solving several Arab and African issues during the past years. The foreign minister pointed out that President Sisi was keen that Egypt's foreign policy to be based on human and civilized principles. He said that Egypt succeeded to benefit from its natural gas resources through international partnerships. The top diplomat added that the country was keen on boosting its Arab relations, including trilateral cooperation with Iraq and Jordan. For his part, Minister of Interior Mahmoud Tawfiq said that the state succeeded in combating terrorism and crimes during the past 9 years. He added that security forces succeeded in preserving national security and protecting citizens across the country. Nile TV's correspondent Rehan Morsi was at the Story of a Nation conference and briefed us on the activities of its final day.
I'm here right now at the Story of a Nation conference. This is the end of a 3-day conference, and it's a sessions where the entire government displayed all that could be displayed of achievements that have been made in the last 9 years or so. Today specifically, they focused on foreign policy and interior affairs, in addition to the health sector and social solidarity. All of this was to take a look at about what could be done to better the lives of citizens. Firstly, let me just say that the health session, which started off first, spoke about how they could improve the lives of Egyptians in general in the last 9 years by providing different initiatives and different mobile clinics available to Egyptians, and increasing the funding for the health sector, in addition to the Social Solidarity Ministry as well, increasing its funding. They also spoke about foreign policy and how they could improve the foreign policy, or how they've improved rather the foreign policy here in Egypt in the last 9 years by creating many trilateral and bilateral cooperation initiatives with many different countries, in addition to joining a number of associations such as BRICS, and a number of other things as well, being Egypt the leader when it comes to foreign policy in many things, such as the AU, the NEPAD, and many things. This was not the only thing that we got today from the conference. We learned a lot about what happened in terms of internal affairs, and the Minister of Interior spoke a lot about that, how they combated the crime, how the number of crime has decreased dramatically here in Egypt in the last 9 years, in addition to an increase in rehabilitation centers and programs to help convicts find ways once they've been released from rehabilitation centers to provide for themselves, and thus decreasing crime. But what was the highlight of tonight was President Abdel Fattah Sisi at the end of today's session, after they displayed a documentary about everything that went on in Egypt in the last 9 years. He came out with a speech, spoke about the achievements that the government has made, and also said that he is going to be running for next term as president, to a major applause here in Egypt.
Thank you, Raham. And President Abdel Fattah Sisi visited the headquarters of the new cabinet, in the new administrative capital, on the sidelines of his participation in the third and final day of the Story of a Nation conference. President Sisi presided over a weekly cabinet meeting and urged the necessity that the government intensifies its efforts to continue relocating at its new headquarters at the administrative capital, an idea which aimed at changing the state's work system for the best. The President wished the government more success in its mission over the coming period, stressing that through the establishment of the new capital, The state shifted unused spots of land into new assets and optimized the benefit from them. However, he added that new challenges are yet to appear with the start of the new work system, which the state is able to overcome. At the start of the meeting, Prime Minister Madbouli hailed President Sisi's visit to the cabinet headquarters, describing it as being a historic day and a great honor that could not have been achieved without the vision of the head of state. He noted that 7 years ago, the new capital has been a planned project which turned real only with the insistence of President Sisi. The public prosecution said on Monday a team was formed to investigate the huge fire that engulfed the Security Directorate headquarters of the Ismailia Governorate early this morning and left 26 people injured. The statement said upon initial inspection, the building was completely charred because of the fire after its flames reached the top of the building. It explained that firefighters and civil protection teams, aided by armed forces planes, managed to put it off. Meanwhile, Minister of Interior Lieutenant General Mahmoud Tawfiq on Monday arrived at the Security Directorate headquarters in Ismailia Governorate to inspect the scene of the fire. The minister visited the injured who were admitted to hospitals in the Governorate and gave directives over the provision of all aspects of care to them till their full recovery. The minister also ordered a committee is formed to determine the causes of the fire and also to assess the constructional safety of the Security Directorate building in order to restore its full efficiency. Welcome back. Egypt's stock market indices collectively slid at the end of the trading session on Monday after being affected by high rates of profit-making operations. The benchmark EGX 30 index slid by 0.77%. The EGX 70 index for small and medium businesses also shed 1.06%. And the broader EGX 100 index also retreated by 1.2%. The market capital of listed companies lost £13 billion to close at £1,356 billion amid transactions of about £5.3 billion.